Hello everyone, and finally welcome back to Star Trek Wolf-Rayet, a Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition game using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is E06 the Game Master, and I just have to say that if you are seeing and hearing this, please do let me know about what the quality is like, because I'm on a brand new setup, and we're still testing this to make sure the front doesn't fall off, because that's not typical. Though, if it is becoming typical, we'll tow it outside the environment and the whole shenanigans. But for the time being, it seems to be behaving, so hopefully this doesn't become a lost episode. So let's just jump right into it, and we'll get started. So starting with Mr. Caspian, who you playing, and anything you want to shout out during the break?
Well, I'm playing Captain Lance Cannon, the dashingly handsome human captain of the ship. And as for shout-outs between this episode and the last, I've had a birthday.
Congratulations.
Woo!
Happy birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Yeah. Whiskey, what do you got going on?
I mean, my agency and I are going to Offkai this year, so that's kind of cool. But otherwise, I'm playing Captain Meridian, the lovely snake girl whose size and proportions are entirely dependent on how Q is feeling today. Otherwise, I'm the chief engineer of the ship.
All right, Kern, what do you got going on? Oh, is Kern muted as per tradition?
Yep.
Actually, no.
No?
Well, we hear you now.
Okay.
Go on for it.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm playing Commander Kessin, and I have nothing going on, so looking forward to getting back on the ship.
All right, and certainly last but not least, Food Cube.
Hello, I'm Food Cube, and I play the Romulan pilot, Lieutenant Mitchellin, or Mitz. I'd like to shout out the voices.
Also,
Sorry,
Romulan
I'm
Ale.
pausing
Romulan
because
Ale is
Jet.
great.
Oh, okay. You're the only one who hears it.
Well, it's because their mic's muted.
Yep, because I'm hot buttoning I've returned to old school streaming mode where I actually have to have a hotkey to mute my microphone and OBS at the same time, so it's fun. But let's get back to our intro video and see what happens. And welcome back. And yes, chat, and anybody on YouTube, if you do hear jet noise, it means that I am slow on the button. So yell at me in the comments because that's fun. But in any case, I believe since it's been 2 months, Meridian, you wrote a log 2 months ago, so why don't you go ahead and go for it?
Yes, I did. Shared Captain's Log, supplemental. While responding to a distress signal, we found ourselves temporally displaced by an orbital defense platform. We arrived several centuries in the past, above a pleasure planet in distress, due to the impending instability in their star. We traced the issue to the age of the star, and worked to find a solution that would avoid as much contamination to the timeline as possible. While working on this, we also collected a large amount of data on the Sven. We developed a solution of rewinding the time of the star while simultaneously temporally slingshotting ourselves back to the present. While we were successful in resolving the situation, just as we were about to move on from this, It seems Q has arrived, before I have even finished my paperwork explaining my temporal shenanigans of the week. So, I guess I might have more temporal shenanigans paperwork. We don't know. Anyway, end Captain's log.
Very nice. You may have momentum for that log. So, what I would say is that we literally are beginning pretty much right as you come back from your mission. You've had maybe 5 minutes of breathing room, and then there's a flash of white light, and a strange being appears before all of you. Now, this being is not the typical Q. It is not Delancey. We just don't have the star power for him. Sorry, I tried.
Aw.
But what you do see is what I can best describe as somewhere between a Rigelian and a Trill. So they have kind of the ridges of the Rigelian, and they also have the spots of the Trill, but they also are a little bit taller than usual. So rather than, being built for maybe 5, 6, 7 feet, this one's about 8.5. So he kind of looms over all of you. But as he kind of looks at all of you, he is dressed in a very simple tunic. It's a brown tunic. But he kind of looks at all of you, narrows his eyes, sniffs around a little bit, and says, "I don't know you. Why don't I know you?"
Well, the captain's going to jump up and say, well, we're kind of new here. I'm Captain Lance Cannon, and you are?
And he leans down, takes a very disturbing sniff, leans back up and says, "Yes, you are new. You are not from here in the slightest." "I got it. I know where you're from." And he literally points out the window of the bridge towards where the Milky Way is. And because it's Q, there's this cool zoom in effect where the Milky Way galaxy just sort of zooms up. "You're from there." "But how did you get here exactly?"
Well, that's a bit of a long story.
"Are you going to tell it to me?"
Let's save that as a surprise for later on. Let's just say we've made our way here. Our ship's very fast.
Interesting. And the being's eye, he hasn't identified himself as a Q yet, but his eyes just slowly go towards Mitz, quirks an eyebrow, looks at Keshin, quirks the other eyebrow, looks at Meridian, traces her tail with his eyes. That is a very long tail.
Thank you very much.
I feel like it keeps growing. Here, let me fix that for you. And he snaps his fingers, and you are now regulation-sized Snake Girl.
Ah, lovely. So it's what, I think 30 length, 10 vertical, I think?
Something like that, yeah. But he snaps his fingers, there's a little flash of light. Maybe you lose a few inches here or there, but he says, "There we go. There was a bit of a disturbance around the spatial time around your tail. I just got rid of that for you." But no, okay. So you're new. You don't know me. You don't know what you just did is a big deal. So let me explain. I am K, and you would basically call me let's say a cousin of Q. And it's my job to make sure that the lovely denizens of the Andromeda Galaxy don't go about doing what you just did.
And what did we do?
I think we answered a distress call.
Yeah.
Yes,
People asked
but
for help, we helped them.
in the process of answering that distress call, you kind of changed the dynamics of the Andromeda Galaxy. Here, let me show you. And the Milky Way galaxy, which was zoomed in, just sort of flies off. The stars of Andromeda come back. And it's almost like looking in stellar cartography where certain stars are highlighted in different colors. And overall, the colors look different. But he says, all right, so this is before you answered the distress call. Everything looks normal. It's everything you expected to see, that sort of thing. And then he snaps his fingers. And the colors charts become massively overwhelmed by another color. And he points at this color and says, "That is the species you just saved. that when you save them, they were able to not only survive the many, many years in which you gave them in advancing technology and advancing as a society, but they've also become, shall we say, a little bit of a nuisance in the area. In fact, he takes another whiff. Ah, yes, the Stevens, you've met them. Yes, yes, I know. Which means your previous timeline. Ah, got it. So you were here because of the Stevens, and you're from the gate. Everything's becoming more clear now. Well, regardless, the point is that your Steven threat that you may or may not cared about, they're now a lesser species in Andromeda rather than the greater species.
Out of character, the species we just spoke to, they were pretty nice people. They didn't seem like, bad guys. They're fairly welcoming to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, they were running a vacation world.
I know at least they named at least one person after me, so can't be that bad.
And when he said the gate, I did give a side-eyed Meridian, because we don't talk about the Pandora's Gate or how we got here. That's supposed to be a Starfleet secret right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when nothing is forthcoming, Kay just sort of looks between the two captains and goes, all right, so which one of you is actually in charge here?
I think we both say me at the exact same time, don't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, but short of putting you together, one of you has to be in charge, so who's in command?
I let him do it because I like working with my engine better.
Okay. And you said your name was Cannon?
That's Captain Lance Cannon.
Captain Lance Cannon. Okay. All right, we're getting somewhere. So, Mr.
Meridian.
Cannon,
Pleasure to meet you.
Captain Cannon, Buddy Boy Cannon. What does your... And he kind of narrows his eyes and looks at your uniform. What is your, I guess, Federation? Alliance? I don't know what you call it, but what is your thing, your organization say about messing with the dynamics of time and messing with other species development?
Well, it's the United Federation of Planets is the group we're from. Technically, we're part of Starfleet, which is the exploratory branch of that, to help you, use the right terms. And as for time, we do have a temporal prime directive, but there's also things like, predestination paradoxes, alternate realities. I mean, it's kind of a slippery slope kind of thing.
And slid
Yeah,
down
I mean,
the
we
slope
can give you a
we
full-on
have.
lecture if you want.
No lecture is needed. I am intimately familiar with that sort of thing, unfortunately.
I feel like this is going to be a lot of paperwork, however this goes.
And Kay just sort of quirks an eyebrow and looks at Mitz and goes, what are they talking about when they say paperwork?
Have you ever seen a thin, flat surface that wobbles?
I know what paperwork is, but what do they mean paperwork? Wait, hold
They
on.
mean
Hold
work?
on. He comes over to you, looms in, sniffs, stands back up and says, got it. You prefer the older types. And he snaps his fingers. He gets a little bit of gray. His voice drops a little bit and goes,
Oh
so is this a little bit more comfortable for you?
no! Captain, help!
He's melting.
I'm going to get between him and Mitz there and say, if you have anything to discuss, you can discuss it with me. I'm in charge here.
Well, do you prefer the older types? Because, nigh omnipotent being can change myself at will, the whole 9 yards.
I like
Whatever
women.
form you're most comfortable with.
Well, actually, the form I'm most comfortable with would be very nice, thank you. Snaps his fingers again. And it's literally just like a space turtle. Just a small little space turtle just sort of floating there. It's actually kind of cute. It's prismatic
That is
scales,
adorable.
and it's got little cool fins and little bits of extra bobs that would suggest that it's meant for exploring space, that sort of thing. But it's basically the size of like a cell phone in real life. So it's like the size of an
Wow.
Android or an Apple phone right now. But the voice is still omnipresent all the same. He says, well, now that I've had a little bit of fun messing with you, let me get down to business. The dynamics of the Andromeda Galaxy have changed, which means either one of us has to fix it, or we do something I haven't done in a long time.
And that would be?
Well, you're new. You're messing with things that you may or may not understand. I believe you might call it something of, bit of a challenge, as you will, a bit of a test.
I didn't study for a test, so...
Well, that's the best part. You can't study for this one. And Kay snaps his fingers, and all of you, in the space that it takes to blink, there's a flash of white light, and you're now on the surface of a beach. It's a black sand beach. It stretches off endlessly to your left and the right. And the ocean is actually a prismatic green, so kind of a greenish hue. But Kay is sort of floating above you, again, as kind of cute little space turtle, and says, this will be the area for our testing grounds. There are 3 tests in all, and if you pass all of them, I'll look the other way. I'll let you change the past as it was, and if you do it again, I'll just sort of give you the side eye. But if you fail, then I'm going to make you go back in time and fix what you just did. Sound fair?
I'm going to look at the crew and be like, yeah, that sounds
fair
fair
to me. It's
Very
like
good. It's been so long since I've actually run one of these tests. Let me see. And his front flippers materialize around a book, and he starts flipping through the book. And it's like, I just want to impress how small and tiny and cute this little book is that he's flipping through. But he finally flips and goes, yes, the first test. And he kind of looks at all of you. What would you all prefer to fight?
But we prefer not to fight at all.
And I think Kay looks at Mitz, because I think Mitz spoke up there for a moment.
Mitz likes to fight. Let's be real.
No answer is forthcoming from Mitz. Looks back at Cannon. You say you prefer not to fight, so what are the conditions that would lead to you fighting?
We will fight to protect ourselves. We'll fight to, defend ourselves if necessary. But we're not a violent species.
Well, I believe I can modify the test then to suit these needs. Very well. Let me introduce your diplomatic target. And Space Turtle slaps their fins together, makes the flash of white light. And what you see on the beach coming towards you is a group of 4 individuals. And all of them look kind of like if you took like the Street Sharks, and that's a deep cut. If you know the Street Sharks, you know the Street Sharks. If you don't, basically imagine shark humanoids. And if you don't know Street Sharks, go look it up. Be cultured. Look it up.
Oh.
But basically Street Sharks walking towards you, but they're also mixed in with a little bit of beta fish. So they're sharks, they're anthropomorphic sharks, but they also have like resplendent plumage, as it were. But these individuals walk up and they immediately say, which one of you is in charge?
I'm in charge.
Very good. You have angered my people. How do you expect to resolve the fact that you have displaced over 10,000 individuals from our breeding grounds? Those breeding grounds are sacred.
Well, would you be open to negotiations and getting the breeding grounds back?
Negotiations? The breeding grounds are ruined for 3 generations.
Ruined? How?
And to save a lot of narration, goes into a very long and, shall we say, complicated diatribe to sort of set the scene. But what matters is, Cannon, can you give me an insight command at a difficulty of 2?
Insight command? Do I have any focuses that might apply? Persuasion, linguistics?
I'd give you both, yeah.
Composure?
Yeah, I'd give you all of those.
Well, first roll in 2 months. Hopefully it's a good one.
Okay. It is a difficulty of 2, so I can offer you a success with a complication.
I'll take a success with a complication.
Okay. So, you're fully aware that Kay has just sort of summoned or created these creatures to come and basically start a fight with you, or try to start a fight. So, you're kind of seeing through the meta play here, but at the same time, you start to understand that it's kind of like what happens with real life turtles, where, if as humans we mess with a beach too much and we don't help the turtle back to the water, sometimes the turtle doesn't make it, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one of those situations where apparently this shark creature believes that you, Starfleet, are in some violation of some treaty, and it is entirely your fault that the beach is ruined for 3 generations. So, as you're processing all that and you're thinking about what to do, the shark character in the lead goes over to Meridian and starts pointing and jabbing at her and says, "What about this one? This one is foul. This one reminds us of the eels that eat our young. How do we know she hasn't eaten our young either?"
I'm fairly certain she's a vegetarian. Isn't that right, Meridian?
Yes, I do not like meat.
And they stare at you. And Meridian, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, you do have fangs sticking out of your mouth, yes?
She is absolutely lying, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. But, hey, roll time. Presence command, difficulty of 2.
Presence command, difficulty of 2. Let's have let's see. Hang on, let's think focuses for a second, or values, that one. Okay. I don't think any of these apply. So we're just gonna straight roll it.
Hey, straight roll worked. Very nice. So, Shark narrows his eyes at you, narrows his eyes at the fangs, and says, "Ah, yes. The fang deal that is well known among our people as vegetarian species."
Wow.
And then you, looking at Keshin, they storm over to look at Keshin. You!
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about you. In fact, I have nothing.
Don't know anything about you either. Maybe we could find out something about each other.
Presence, security, or presence command, whichever you prefer. Difficulty of 1. And survey says... Oof.
Oh my god!
Oof. Do you have a way of re-rolling that in any fashion?
Nope.
Okay, well, that is 0 successes and a 20. So, something about the way you said it pisses the shark off and says, "I knew it. This is a trick.
Mhm.
You're bringing unknown aliens into this negotiation to make us feel unwanted and unnerved. I demand you remove that one at once," pointing at Keshin.
You say remove. Can he just step outside of the group?
"No,
Or do we
must toss him into the sea where he belongs." And Keshin, the shark is going to attempt to grab you and throw you into the ocean. Now, you have a choice.
Well,
you can either just be
let's
thrown
make that
into
opposed.
You're going to oppose? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is an opposed check. And I'm going to
Not
say...
violently, though.
I'm going to say...
I'm going to use like Aikido, just basically to take his energy and redirect it.
Okay. So this is going to be an opposed daring and security. And the difficulty on this is a 1. And it is a new 2nd edition rule that if you want to counterattack, as you just described, you will have to give me 2 meta currency for it. Assuming you
You mean like
pass
two?
the roll, the opposed
Yeah.
test anyway.
Right.
But yeah, let me roll
problemo.
first so you know what you're looking at. Sure, why not? I'll give this guy a third die. Let's make things interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's expand. Ooh, that's a low roll. Let's expand out that 20.
That's a very low.
That is a 6,
Wow.
a 2, and a 12, which means that they have achieved 3 successes. No, 4 successes. So I need to see 4 or 5 from Keshin here to not be thrown into the ocean.
All right, so I'm gonna use my determination,
Okay.
and I'm gonna use the value, the security of the ship and the crew are my priority,
Okay.
and then I will buy an extra dice as well. With the momentum we have.
Okay.
And dedicated focus using determination. Boom.
Okay. Only 3 successes, unfortunately, unless you have a way of getting some kind of reroll here.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm looking
What's
through your
the
sheet.
if you add one to the severity for unarmed combat? Unarmed
That
attack?
won't help you here, unfortunately.
I don't know what the severity is.
Well, the
No.
severity is basically the weapon damage now.
Oh, okay. Nope.
All right. So yeah, everybody watches as Keshin gets yeeted into the ocean.
There you go. Woohoo.
Yep.
I
So
get wet.
Keshin, you go flying into the ocean. You go down to about it's waist deep, so you sploosh pretty good.
Okay.
But as
Cool.
you are hurled through the air, the other sharks go over to Mitz and say, "And you have pointy ears."
What? Yes, I do.
They're
You
very
like
pretty,
them?
aren't they? I do.
I do kind of like pointy ears. They are very, very good. But I don't know your species either, so therefore, I must throw you into the ocean.
Not if I do it first.
And you attempt to
It's
throw
good.
him into the ocean.
I don't know if I was genuinely unsure if Mitz was gonna throw themselves into the ocean.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That seems kind of like a Mitz thing to do, also.
Well,
Grab herself, chucks herself.
I was going to say, let's roll and we'll find out what happens. Well, Mitz, since you are acting first, daring security, difficulty of 1.
Difficulty of 1.
Remember,
I
you can give me
convince
treats.
you? Could I convince you that hand-to-hand is kind of this is technically hand-to-hand
Uh-huh.
as my focus?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm using my hands to throw the shark dude?
Yeah, you don't have to... That is what it is, yeah.
Alright.
Oh, no, your
Difficulty of
bold
what
is
again?
con. Oof.
Yeah, I missed my bold security.
I mean, you could still give me a treat.
Mm. Do we still have momentum? No, we
No.
don't. Okay.
Hold on. I'm reminded. You have failed 1 task so far, so you do have a momentum in your pool.
Woo!
Yes! Yes! Alright, okay. How many dice do I need again?
Well, it's a difficulty of 1, but just keep in mind you are setting the difficulty I have to beat here.
Okay. I will be using momentum. The momentum.
Okay, so you'll roll 3d20 here. With a focus.
With a focus. I usually don't pray, but it's in times like these.
Wow.
Wow.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's pretty good. Very good.
I'm only going to roll for momentum purposes here, just to see how much momentum you get back. 23, let's expand that out. An 8 and a 15, that is only one success, so you get a whopping 4 momentum back. Congratulations. So yeah, Mitz, tell us about how you judo throw the shark into the ocean.
Imagine this, like, I imagine like the shark dudes are like much like 5 times the size of her, right?
Mhm.
Imagine like Mitt's skinny little ass just like pick up the shark dudes and yeet him off to the ocean.
Okay. So Keshin, you're picking yourself up. You splooshed and you're picking yourself up. And then you look up and a shark guy goes flying past you. He makes a nice sploosh. And then the other sharks go, oh, they have invoked the right of Shakari.
What is shakari?
Shakari is our most sacred of principles, that he who yeets the farthest has the best say.
Oh,
And all the sharks
Logical.
kind of gather around Mitz, like completely ignore Cannon, go over to Mitz, and just be like, what is it you wish to decree, Shakari?
and I look at like Captain Cannon and Captain Meridian while saying this, right? Um, we would like to offer Starfleet's help in order to fix what we've done to your people in a peaceful manner, perhaps.
Well, it is the will of the Shakari, therefore we must follow it. And the shark guys break out driftwood or pick up driftwood from the beach, light it on fire with a bit of flint and steel, and just like, Shakari, Shakari, and they start picking up Mitz and like dancing around with her. And it's really weird, but it's also kind of heartwarming because, again, these dudes are jacked and huge, and they're just like, yay, Mitz. But as everybody else is watching Mitz having a good time, the enigmatic Q appears before the rest of you and says, well, that was interesting. I was wondering to see if you would figure out that the truth to finding a peaceful solution was actually getting your hands a little bit dirty.
Well, that's what we keep Mitts around for.
Indeed.
Yeah.
As she's getting bounced around the little campfire.
Yeah.
And also for the Romulan ale supply. That's also a pretty good reason to keep them around.
Oh, yeah. Well, that answers the first test. Congratulations, you passed with flying colors. Well done, well done. And the little space turtle claps. And Kaif slaps his fins together. Keshin, you are now blow-dried, thankfully. You don't have to get your uniform cleaned. But this time,
Nice.
you're once again on the beach alone. The shark creatures have gone. But this time, there is a boat out in the surf. And from the looks of it, there's a rough seas out there. The waves are crashing on the beach. You can see in the distance there's a sort of heavy storm coming in. You don't know if it's like a hurricane or just like a normal thunderstorm, maybe a typhoon. You really don't know. But there is somebody out there, and you can just barely hear them over the crash and wind and everything else. And they go, please, anyone, save me, please. And Kay, being the enigmatic host, says, we've seen that you're willing to get your hands dirty, but how far are you willing to go in saving someone else?
Meridian wants to see if the ship is in range. So she wants to like try and tap her comm badge to see if it's in range so that she could theoretically control a transporter.
Unfortunately, when you
She's
tap your
also
comm
expecting-
badge, you do not get the ship.
Captain's ship's out of range, so what we got is what we got to work with.
Is there anything on the beach we have to work with? Any supplies?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So, since the right of Shakari was invoked, there are a number of bits of driftwood. There are bits of clumps of seaweed. There are some brush and some ivy you could maybe use. There's also a little bit of shells and, just general beach things that could suggest you could make some kind of raft, maybe?
Captain, I think I need to engineer us a raft.
See if you can turn some rocks into replicators.
Yes.
All right, well,
Which I
Meridian.
actually could just build. I could just build us a ship. But we don't have time for that, so we're not building a literal replicator here. That'd take us a little bit too long.
Just a little bit.
I'll start collecting the vines.
Okay. Well, what I'll say then is, Keshin, you can assist Meridian, or Meridian, you can assist Keshin, however you'd prefer to do it. It is going to be a daring and engineering, and
Got it.
I think I'll spend just one threat to make it a difficulty of 3.
Okay. Daring engineering is literally my power combo.
Let's spend some extra momentum. Maybe we can buy some more back.
Yes, that's my thoughts
Am I
too here.
am I doing daring and engineering as well? Or?
Yeah, you're
Just
doing
for
a
the
daring
assist?
engineering of your own.
All right.
So do you want to assist me then with that, I guess?
Yep.
Alright, we're going to perform task. Can I spin emergency repairs? Because I need to emergency repair a bunch of garbage into something that works as a flotation device. Because otherwise that person drowns, so this is an emergency.
Sure. It's been 2 months, sure.
It's been too much short. Alright, and bold is...
You have to give me at least one
Yes.
threat for bold to take effect.
Alright, I'll give you one treat.
Treat.
Come up to 3 dice. And then I have the 1 assist from Kern. So I think, yeah, okay. I'll do this because this is engineering and I've just got bold engineering. So yeah, I think we'll do this.
Okay.
This works.
Aim before 20s. No, that is
3
already 3 successes. Okay, well, Keshin tries really hard, but ultimately it only helps in the narrative. But Meridian and Keshin working together, you now have a pretty good raft, all things considered. The only problem is that in the time it took you to do this, the storm has picked up. The storm is actually now raining extremely hard. In fact, there's even little bits of hail mixed in that are plunging into the ocean, stirring up froth, and pelting you with stinging little welts.
Okay.
All right, could Kern have been making us some rope out of those vines he was collecting as well?
If you spend
Yep.
2 momentum, I will say yes. You now have the trait that you have a number of vine ropes.
All right, here's what
I
I'm
was gonna say,
thinking.
that's the most expensive rope I've ever heard. 2 momentum.
Well, if you had passed, I would say yes. I would say
I-
it free, but yeah, since
Yeah,
you
you're
didn't
right.
pass,
Yeah.
Keshin, I have to have some kind of cost
Right.
here.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. I was just kidding.
All right. So do you want to pay with
I would-
momentum or threat?
Let's do it with momentum.
No,
I don't want to give you
yeah,
more
2
threat.
momentum.
Okay. So, you now have a bit, and since you did spend for it, actually, I'm going to say that these vine ropes, very sturdy. In fact, you're pretty sure you could lug something approaching 300 kilograms with it. This is super rope. In fact, whatever this ivy is, you need to study it, because holy crap, this is some major stuff here.
Tough stuff.
Well, my suggestion would be that the captain and Kern go out on the raft to see if we can rescue this person and possibly use the rope to drag their boat back up towards shore.
Now, when you
Okay.
say
And
And my
captain-
suggestion is,
Me.
Okay.
You want me to push?
I was thinking you
Oh,
could,
you could do
stay
that.
on the shore, maybe give us an anchor for the other end of the rope.
Ooh, good idea.
Find something to tie it down to.
Sure.
and then I was also thinking of using a rope to tie cannon to myself,
Okay.
just in case we go
Mhm.
overboard.
Okay. Yeah, that can happen.
Because, rough seas coming along.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
since you spent for the trade, I'll give it to you. You now have a rope that is attached between Cannon and Keshin. There is a rope attached to the raft itself that Meridian and Mitz can use to drag you back to shore. you now just have to get out there in that rough surf and save that poor person, which, oh, there goes a wave. Oh, are they going to come back up? Okay, they came back up. It's very hectic for them right now.
Are they on a ship or anything?
They'll be
or
well
just,
fought by the time we get there.
Yeah. They are on just basically a bit of flotsam, or in maybe a better description, it looks like they're clinging to a floating bit of what could be a barrel of some kind.
Oh, okay.
Right, well,
So like end of Titanic
Well,
vibes.
let's that out there.
Definitely end of Titanic vibes.
Well, me and Kern get out there and see if we can rescue Jack before this one rose. I'm not sure which.
Okay.
So we push the raft out and see what happens.
How are you paddling? How are you providing thrust for the raft?
I figure a couple good long piece of driftwood.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. One on each side.
So we're gonna do something a little bit. We're gonna do something a little bit weird. I know, me weird. We're gonna do something a little bit weird. If both of you individually can pass a fitness and con at a difficulty of 2, I'll say you get out to the hapless survivor. If either of you fails, then I'm going to introduce a negative trait to the scene.
Okay.
Okay.
So...
Can I use my focus of survivalist to
most definitely
have a focus here?
Most definitely.
And I recommend we both spend at least 1 momentum to increase our odds.
Sure. Get an extra dice. We're both rolling 3 dice at this point, if I understand.
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Okay, so that's 1 success. Okay, well, here's what I'll offer you is you can still succeed because you still got 4 successes overall, but something will happen to Cannon. A negative trait will be added to Cannon.
Okay.
So
what do I get?
You're doing your best, Cannon and Keshin. You're, timing your, okay, stroke now, stroke. You get in a rhythm. You kind of have to yell over the crash and wind and everything else that's going on. But as you get closer, what ends up happening is, Cannon, you go to stroke and you get caught in a bit of an undercurrent. So because you were tied to Keshin is able to stop you from going fully into the water. But the situation is now that you've lost your driftwood paddle and you are now soaking wet and freezing. So just keep that in mind.
I'll definitely keep that in mind. Do we make our way out there to the person who needs to be rescued?
Since you did get 4 successes, yes, you are within the general area. And this person looks like they're losing strength. In fact, they don't look to be like anything specific. They're just vaguely humanoid, just enough to, be recognizable as like 2 arms, 2 legs, that sort of thing. But you can still tell that, their arms are shivering, their eyes are fluttering. They look like they could fall off the barrel and into the surf at any moment.
Yeah. Make a loop and then throw the loop as if it was a rescue buoy kind of thing.
Yeah,
in a direction and say, grab it.
Okay. So, Keshin, I need you to roll me because we'll treat this like a ranged attack. It would be a control security, and the difficulty would be a 2.
Control security, difficulty of 2. I'm going to give you a treat for an extra dice.
Okay, I will take a treat.
And could my focus the strategy and tactics?
I'll give it to you.
Nice.
Very nice. You actually get a momentum back for your trouble. So yeah, you take your amazing vine rope, you throw it, and not only are you able to ensnare the floating helpless individual, but you were able to get it underneath one of their armpits, so you've got a good pull on them right now. However, to keep things interesting, I'm now going to spend 2 threat to say that a wave crashes over your raft, and Keshin, you now have the trait freezing and shivering. Now, you're probably wondering, well, ELH, what does this mean for Cannon and Keshin, since they both have it? Basically, every single round, and we're going to treat this in a round structure, every single round that you are not out of the ocean, you will be taking stress damage.
Okay.
Well, now we have this person hooked on. I guess we're going to tug on the rope attached to the raft so that Meridian knows to start pulling us in.
Okay.
And then I'll start pulling in.
So, Meridian, for the viewers at home, what is your fitness score?
My fitness score is a 9.
Okay, and Mitz, what's your fitness score?
My fitness score is a 10.
Okay, so about the same. All right. So still good
We're
because 8 is average. So yeah, that's good. So
We're fit.
Fit bunch.
So between Meridian and Mitz, I need you to roll me, and you can decide who's assisting whom. This would be a fitness and a con at a difficulty of 4.
I feel like the con officer is going to be better at this.
Yes, the tiny con officer.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
I'll
needed a
hold
shark
you in
already,
pla- I will-
so, you know.
I will assist by holding you in place so you don't fall in.
Oh, you're going to be the anchor there, Meridian.
Yeah, I'm so heavy. It's all tail, all muscle.
Okay, so fitness and con.
Which means you can
How
use both
many?
con.
My favorite!
I love
So
it
how
when
many
she's
treats do I
excited.
get?
Julie.
Ooh. How many do I have to roll again?
Well, you need a difficulty of
You need
4.
four. Yeah, you need
Mm,
4
okay.
success.
You have one
May-
assist from me.
I'll use bold con, so you have a trait, but I'll also use momentum because I don't want to mess this up.
Okay, so it would be 1 momentum and 2 threat then to roll 4 dice.
Yes!
Okay.
Literally praying.
No, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look.
I'm also not gonna look when I click this.
I'm also not gonna look because I don't think Subspace Mechanics
Oh.
applies.
Oh,
Oh,
Mitz, you
no.
man, I knew I didn't want to look.
You can re-roll 1 die.
One?
I would recommend maybe re-rolling a 16, because if you crit on that 16, we don't have to talk about determination.
Mm. I'm rerolling that. Dude.
Oh, another 6.
Oh, no.
That's 3 16s. Wow.
Wow.
All right,
I
well,
think 16 is your
Mitz,
unlucky number.
you have a choice here. You can either simply choose to fail, which is always interesting, or what you do is you spend your determination as linked to a value to reroll as many of those dice as you wish.
I don't want to get in the water, so I will use determination.
Okay, which value?
A life without risk is no life at all.
Sure, I'll take it. Just make sure that you are making a note somewhere, either in your notes or on the character sheet, that you have used that value, because that's how you get advancements in 2nd edition.
Gotcha. Okay. Fitness and con again, right?
Yep, and you can reroll as many of those dice as you wish. Maybe reroll the 11, maybe not. Depends on how lucky you feel.
So,
There's one success
when you say
for
any
me.
number,
You can't reroll meridians.
Yeah, you can't reroll
Okay.
mine. You also wouldn't want to because I already have a single success. And you have one success.
okay.
We need 4 successes total. So we're at 2, we need 4.
okay.
Okay, so that goes up to
that'll do it.
That'll go from 2 successes to 6 successes. Well done. So you do get 2 momentum back. So just to again paint the picture for everybody. So what I'm imagining is that Mitz, apparently being She-Hulk in this moment, is just really just pulling on the rope, just, going ham, just pulling it on in, hand over hand, just wrenching that raft back to shore. And Meridian, I'm going to say that, you dig your tail into the sand and, provide a sturdy anchor. And there's times where you feel like, oh, if I even let up for just a moment, Mitz is going to go into the surf, kind of a thing. And eventually you are able to get the raft ashore just as Cannon and Keshin begin to suffer a little bit of frostbite and hypothermia. Now, since it only took one round, Keshin and Cannon only take 2 stress damage here, but it is still 2 stress of damage.
Okay, so for that I can do something.
Okay, what you got?
So I'm going to use precautions.
Okay.
I can reduce the injury because I'll just basically say that I'm going to use my Type 1 phaser and put it on overload so that it heats up.
Oh. You know what? I like that. And normally I think
On a slow,
precautions...
very slow overload.
Right.
Yes, it's still avoid injury.
Right.
If an ally suffers... if an ally suffers an injury, okay, prevent somebody. I'll prevent cannons.
I tell you what, you give me 2 momentum, it'll affect both of you.
Oh, okay.
Let's keep the momentum. I'll let it just affect me. I'll take the 2 stress.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, Keshin,
I'm taking stress with that too.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is where you can either take the 2 stress or you become injured, is kind of the way 2nd edition does it, where it's no longer about doing 5 or more damage to cause an injury. In 2nd edition, you always have the choice of taking injury instead of taking stress.
Right. So I'll take 2 stress then.
Okay.
And then which dice do I roll for see if I can recuperate my determination? Because I have the veteran.
Let's click it and find out. I believe it's against your control. Yes, it is a D20 against your control.
Control. Okay.
Can you just type that? I've put it there because it's been 2 months.
And how do I just roll control?
You would just have to do it manually in chat. Just do /roll 1d20.
Yeah. Or /roll.
Could matter here.
1d20.
Oof. Unfortunately, that is an 18 and therefore not under a 10, so you do not get your determination back.
Yep. Got it.
All right. Well, the good news is that as you finally get to shore and you save the helpless, capsized individual, you get them on the shore and, Kay appears again. And Kay says, interesting. I was expecting a lot more of flailing around in the surf and maybe getting capsized a few times, but you Starfleet people are really made of sterner stuff. All right, well, let's move on to the next test. Slaps his fins. Everything about the beach resets. It's now a sunny day. You are no longer suffering the effects of being frostbitten, hypothermia. All that goes away. And it's actually kind of a picturesque sunset where, you've got the green ocean, you've got the black sands, you've got purple palm trees, and you've got a sunsets of reds and oranges and reds. I said red twice, but you get the idea. But Kay is actually just sort of sitting in a bowl on a table. And Kay just says, I'd like you each to impress me, please.
Well, the first thing I want to ask Kay is, can you give me a second chance to roll for my determination?
I think Kay looks at you and says, that is beyond the scope of my meta knowledge and meta power.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah, worth a shot.
How would you like us to impress you, Kay?
That's entirely for each of you to determine.
So can we conjure, like, for example, if I want to show him some Burbat Jaha writing, I can conjure up a Burbat Jaha?
Sure. But you got to describe for the
Cool.
people at home what that looks like.
Well, it's like riding a horse, but it's just a bigger, it's a bit like, it's like a big bug there. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it would be a control and a con. I think that's fair. Control and a con. How ornery would you say these creatures are?
Oh, well, if it's my personal Burbat Jaha, it's not ornery at all.
Oh,
Well
okay.
trained.
Difficulty of 1.
Nice.
I would recommend not rolling a 20. 3 successes. Wow. All right. Well, that gets you 2 momentum, bringing you up to
Nice.
4. And yeah,
Ride that
Keshin,
buggy.
what do you do with your mount? Do you just sort of ride around and show off the majesty of the beast? Do you like little hopping tricks? What does it look like?
Yeah, hopping tricks. So like as if I was doing equestrian riding, using the natural obstacles of the beach there to pretend there's like if there's a dent, it's as if like it was a ditch kind of thing. So I'm jumping over the ditch and
Okay.
could actually conjure up an obstacle course that would like an equestrian jump there and do that kind of thing with it.
Okay. So yeah, K will help. So I guess, what I should have said is that K will help you establish any tools you need or need, like if you need set
okay.
pieces, like K will help you manifest them because all he cares about is impressing him. So if you need something to do it, he provides.
Okay, so that's it. I'll conjure up like a standard equestrian circle there, basically of jumps and riding. It's like slowing the horse down, increasing the speed just before hitting the jump and jumping kind of thing. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you show off your prowess of handling an animal, and Kay
give
kind
my
of claps.
best Olympic performance there.
Yeah, and I think Kay kind of claps their fins there and says, "Well done, Mr. Keshin. Well done indeed. Who would like to go next?"
There you go.
Meridian smiles and then looks over to Captain. Captain, can I make a ship?
I just nod.
Can I make a copy of our ship? She smiles.
Captain laughs for a moment, then nods again.
All right, Meridian's gonna do the thing that she's been constantly saying that she can do, which is she wants to just code the ship from the ground up with an industrial replicator. So she's gonna just like grab a driftwood and then like diagram out what she needs as an industrial replicator, and then she's going to program from memory all of the the entire code base for an industrial replicator to print a Protostar class ship.
All right. Well, that would certainly be impressive. The question is, how do I make this a
Certainly
roll?
would be.
I don't know, because she's constantly been claiming she can, and she firmly believes she can.
I know engineering would be involved.
Yeah, I mean, the engineering is the
Definitely.
easiest department in discipline, but the question is this a reason? Is this a fitness?
I don't know. It
I
sounds
think
like a pretty. It sounds like a very daring endeavor to me.
That's
It's either
true,
daring or
but
control.
Reason would be
because
wonder.
take some control to push all these buttons.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think
well,
I got
a lot
it.
of
I think I
typing.
know how I want to handle this because it's always weird in Star Trek Adventures because there's no true mental stat. It's kind of mixed in with everything. Like if this was D&D, I'd say, all right, give me a will roll or, roll me wisdom or something like that.
Intelligence. Yeah.
So here's what we'll do. Meridian, if you can give me either a presence or a reason plus engineering at a difficulty of 5.
Okay, I'll give you a reason engineering.
Okay.
All right, guys, can I gremlin some momentum?
Of
Yeah, you
course.
All right.
Sure.
So I will first things first. I'm gonna be a sassy thing here. Would this by any chance be classified as an extended task? I assume no, but I figure I'd ask anyway.
Let me see the wording on the or the talent here. Let me see.
Custom tools.
Oh, you already put it in chat. Same time. Let me
Yes.
see. See, the way I read it is it's conferring you a trait, which does have an effect on extended tasks, but it's also a trait that's on your character.
Yes.
So I'll tell you what, because you have custom tools, I'll lower the difficulty to a 4.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so I still want to roll 5 dice because I want to try and get us a lot of momentum back here.
Okay.
So,
Now, if you want to roll
let's
5
see.
dice, you got to give me 6 meta currency.
Okay,
Or determination and
you do
2
make
dice,
a valid
so
point.
that's,
I do want to use a determination on this.
two momentum.
Yeah, so I definitely want to use my determination
that.
here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna keep it $150 with you here. Focus of gravimetric protostar containment most certainly should probably apply.
Oh yeah.
And then my value of make it work, make it right, make it fast. You can only have 2. I want to make it work and I want to make it right.
Okay. So that's going to turn one of your die in your pool to a 1. And how many dice do you wish to roll, including that die? Because it's going to automatically turn to a 1.
I wish to roll 5 total.
Okay, so that is still 6 meta currency then.
Wow.
Okay. How about what does everybody else think on 2 momentum, the rest threat? Because there's no orb cubes here.
No.
Yeah, that can work.
All right.
2 threat.
2 positives and no negatives. Let's go.
2 momentum and 4 threat. All right.
Also, of course, this triggers my bold engineering as well.
It does.
So we're going to roll these dice. 6 successes.
Ooh.
So that'll get you your 2 momentum back, but if you want to crit fish with bold engineering, you could probably take that 16 and maybe turn it into a success. Could also be a complication.
Or I could turn it into a complication. So I'm going to be satisfied with not accidentally building it with the I mean, to be honest, we both know if I roll a complication, the holodeck is upside down in this one too.
Spending 2 threat, that when you create the other protostar, the holodeck is upside down again.
Solid. This works for me. Love it. Hey, listen, I said I was going to build the ship. Now it's a perfect 1-to-1 replica.
Yeah.
She also smiles and looks at everyone and goes, I wasn't lying when I told you I could build the entire thing.
Also, I'm spending 2 threat that it is not exactly the largest of replicas. It is a it's about the size of a Type 11 shuttle. So it's still fairly large. It's a model.
Miniaturized.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like that's more impressive.
Yeah, especially because you're containing a protostar and all that. So
I also look at Kana and go,
scale.
to be perfectly clear, can you send that back with us? Because I want to put that on my desk, because this is my proudest moment right here. She
It's
smiles.
the size of a shuttlecraft.
Fine, I'll put it in engineering. That basically is my desk. I would put it in the shuttle bay. Well, point is, I want it with us.
let me do
It's
this
very
for
pretty.
you. He claps his fins together, and you now have a scale replica, like in Picard's ready room with the golden model ships in the conference room. You now have a fully working minus protostar, because he's not just going to give you another protostar to have havoc with, but he still gives
That's fair.
you a miniaturized protostar class without the protostar containment. that you can put on a desk,
Well, okay.
put on a shelf, etc.
Is the protostar containment there but not filled?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Cool.
But that's not all. He also gives you a hat that says #1 engineer, and he gives you a mug that says, "This isn't even my finest replicated cup of coffee."
She smiles. She loves this. I want you to understand, I'm going to go make or buy this mug immediately following the session.
Nice. So Kay, having fun, is now going to turn to Mitz and Ken and goes, "What about you two?"
Oh.
I'm gonna look to Mitz and go,
No pressure.
I suppose I'll go first between us.
I think Kay leans in and with anticipation and says, "All right, what are you going to show me? What is it you're going to impress me with?"
Give me something to fight. Give me the greatest fight.
Okay, I will do just that. Claps his fins together. There's a flash of light. You see a doppelganger.
Oh! Oh, I see. Oh, this will be fun.
are they a complete 1-to-1 replica, or does this one have like a little goatee so we know it's the evil one?
The difference is where Mitz has white hair, it's black hair, and when she has black hair, it's white hair.
Ooh.
But yeah, Mitz goes, "Oh no, the pressure's on me now. I have to fight myself. And if Kay does the old man voice again, I don't know what I'll do." "Oh, so you're saying I could be a little bit of a gremlin if I use this voice then?" "No, not that voice. Anything but that voice." So I'm actually going to spend...
Star Trek fight music?
Yeah, I'm actually going to spend 2 threat that Kay actually does start playing the classic TOS fight music. But because he used the old man voice, both Mitz and Mitz are going to be at a complication range of 18 to 20.
Wow.
Yep. But yeah, it is just a daring security opposed, and technically the players go first, so have at it.
All right, gang. All right, gang. Hold on, let me just check what I have.
There's an echo.
And I will say that since it is an opposed test, the more successes you get, potentially with bot dice, the more I have to roll against you.
Right.
You devil dog, you.
Okay, how much... Okay, hold on. I will... Because this is the greatest fight. I'm fighting myself, you see. May I have 2 momentum and 1 threat?
Okay. So rolling 4 dice total. And hand-to-hand as a focus definitely applies here.
I want to, immediately knock her out.
All right. Well, let's see what your roll is first, though. If it's what I think it's going to be amazing either way.
Complication range is 18, right? 18.
Correct. 18 to 20.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
3 successes with a complication. What I'm going to do, I'm going to immediately take 2 threat for that complication, turn around and spend that 2 threat and 1 extra threat so that Doppelmitz can roll 4 dice.
Right. Smart move.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
You just got your ass whipped by your clone.
So
I don't know. I find that impressive.
Here's how this works, is because Doppelmitz is the defender in this instance, I have to spend 2 threat to make them immediately counterattack. So I'll describe the counterattack, but I have to hear how Mitz is coming at herself. So Mitz, are you going for like a grab? Are you going for like a throw? What is it you're trying to, maybe you're punching yourself? stop hitting yourself. What is it you're doing to your doppelganger here?
So basically, I imagine they were like originally at a distance between each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you can visualize, she was like running really quickly towards to punch her in the face to knock her out. Basically,
Okay.
she was aiming for the face.
Okay. So what's going to happen then is you come charging through the black sand with your fist ready for a right hook. You throw the right hook, and Doppel catches it with the palm of her hand. And she does that evil villain thing where she kind of like twists it a little bit and grins and says, "Is this the best I have to offer?" And then grabs your wrist and over her head, just like you did with the sharks, over her head throws you into the ocean.
Can I still get up?
I mean, that's the thing. So technically, you only do 2 damage here. So you have a choice. You can either take 2 stress damage, or you can become injured. It's entirely your call which.
I'll take the 2 stress damage.
Okay. And yeah, at this point, it is the doppelganger use turn. I'm running low on threat, so I'm only going to give them 1 additional dice here.
Would backup plans come into play here?
Sorry, say
To get
again.
an extra momentum? Would backup plans come into play here?
Backup plans
Since you
would come into
failed
play,
that?
yes. So you would be up to 3
backup
momentum.
plans.
All right, so this first
Even
mitts
precautions-
roll
even
is
precautions would apply here.
doppelmitts.
Hmm.
Doppelmitts is really rolling really hot, guys. I mean, she's just
No kidding.
yeah. Well, the number to beat Mitts food is I need to see 5 successes here.
Okay. Oh well. All right.
Truly, the most impressive thing about this is that Mitz never gives up, even when they keep getting their ass kicked today.
I mean, you can see that she has like a big grin too. Like she rarely gets thrown around like this, so obviously, she's having the time of her life. Okay, I will take momentum, 2 momentum,
Mm-hmm.
and another 1 threat.
Okay.
There's no way we could assist in this, is there?
Not unless you want to invalidate
No.
the impressiveness.
Now you'll have to
cheer on.
watch.
I mean, yeah, like narratively, you can be like, "Yeah, go Mitts," and then everybody's like, "Wait, which Mitts? That Mitts? Is that the right Mitts? I don't know."
Keston says under his breath, I prefer my tussles under the sheets.
There you go.
Same.
Hey, 5 successes. So,
Hey.
Mitts, how do you redeem yourself and knock out yourself?
Okay. Again, she does another like speed run towards herself.
Mm-hmm.
And like she obviously tries to tackle her first to get her into the ground.
Okay.
And starts like punching herself repeatedly.
Stop hitting yourself, literally. All right.
Mhm.
So, I will have to take either 1 momentum and 1 threat, or 2 threat, depending on which spend, but you can certainly knock yourself out.
Give him the 2 threat.
Yeah.
I'll give you the threat. I'll give you a treat.
I'll take my 2 treats. All right. So yeah, you beat the heck out of yourself, and eventually Doppel vanishes into the sands, and Kay again claps his little space turtle fins and goes, "Well done, that is an excellent recovery. You really need somebody that can spar with you on a regular basis, don't you?"
And I still have the big ass grin, like indeed.
Well, I was watching Meridian over here replicate the whole Protostar class, and it was an odd choice to make your hollow thingy upside down, but I think I've got just the thing for you. And he claps his fins, and you now have a little isolinear chip with a perfect fighting program in the holodeck with yourself.
And you hear her laugh like that. You hear her laugh like that.
Nice.
Giggle.
So
This is
Kay
so precious.
finally turns his attention to Cannon and says, "And now, Mr. Captain in Charge, what will you do to impress me?"
I think being in charge of these three is impressive enough, but
No, in fact, that was the
needed-
right answer. Claps his hands. You all end up.
No way!
You all end up back on the bridge of the Wolf-Rayet. You are where you were just moments ago before this whole test shenanigans even happened. And
As I'm
Kay
just
is
trying to finish it.
returned to his humanoid form, still kind of large, but not like 8.5. He's lowered himself to like 6 feet now. But he kind of says, "All right. I will say that you do show some promise. You're not bloodthirsty conquerors. Well, aside from Mitz, you didn't really fight anyone. You didn't demand like a blood sacrifice or anything like that. You do appear to have a code. You do appear to have the spirit of discovery within all of you. All right. I probably shouldn't do this, but hey, the K Continuum can yell at me all they want. I'll let you go this time, but next time you find yourselves in the past, maybe don't change the balance of the entire Andromeda Galaxy."
Captain's going to sit down in his chair and be like, "That's a definite maybe."
You know what? I'll take
Try
it.
our best.
I'll take it. And Kay slaps his hands together, vanishes, and you're left to your own devices.
Hey, Cannon, remember when I made that full-size ship into a little desk trophy for you?
You thinking what I'm thinking? A little remote control space battle?
That isn't what I was thinking, but yes, we absolutely need to do that once we get off shift. I was more thinking I can take this, as she's gesturing with her small-sized protostar, and if we ever need to, I can just theoretically make it big, and then we just have a second protostar.
And I think the ESH appears at this moment and says, "So, back in old shipyard, we had saying that when we had two ships, we only really had one ship. But
Shut up. Shut up.
I am feeling that there is lesson to be had here. What is it called? Oh, yes, it is called
somebody-
Chekhov's Starship. That if a starship is
Somebody-
showed in second act, it must come
Somebody's
out in
fucked
the
up with my
third.
programming there.
But
It's
that's
so
where we'll
funny
end
'cause I
today's
was just-
session. We'll end today's session.
That's so
there.
funny because I was just thinking of that I couldn't program K to shut up.
Yeah. Oh Lord. But yes, that's where we'll end today's little romp. And I think unless the recording derps, I think we are not a lost episode today, which is amazing.
No, I don't think
Even
so.
if the recording dips, you can just download the VOD.
Yeah, exactly.
And then only be slightly cursed.
Yeah, it'll only be slightly cursed. Cool. All right. Well, Twitch, stick around because we're going to rate somebody. But YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later. Bye-bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.